So name the four dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. Name the four dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. Yes. Shreya, Sangama, Salva, Tuluva and Aravidu dynasty. Sangama, Salva, Tuluva and Aravidu dynasty. So four dynasties ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. Yes. Who was the famous ruler of the Sangama dynasty? Who was the famous ruler? Who was the famous ruler of the Sangama dynasty? Who was the famous ruler of the Sangama dynasty? Anushri. Anushri. Who was the famous ruler of the Sangama dynasty? Anushri. Anushri. Who was the famous ruler of the Sangama dynasty? So Lakshmesh. 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 Yes, Pritam. Pritam.
Prouda Devaraya.
Prouda Devaraya. He was also been called as the Devaraya II. He was also been called as the Devaraya II. So the famous ruler of the Sangama dynasty was Devaraya II or Prouda Devaraya. He had earned the title Elephant Hunter and Dakshinapatada Chakravarti. He has earned the title Elephant Hunter and Dakshinapatada Chakravarti. So after Devaraya, so it was the Krishna Devaraya who has been compared to the greatest kings of the world or the greatest kings of India. Krishna Devaraya has been compared. So next, already I have been completed the Krishna Devaraya concept. So that is not that is this year it is not there, but still I have been completed in my last class. So after Krishna Devaraya, he was an able warrior and a shrewd commander and a political expert. He extended the empire in all the direction. He extended the empire in all the direction. While during his period, there were external and internal wars. There are external and internal wars. But all the rebellions, the external and internal difficulties were being cleared, or it was been successfully handled by the Krishna Devaraya. Successfully handled by the Krishna Devaraya. So there are 8 poets or the 8 gems in the court of Krishna Devaraya, and they have been called as Ashtadiggajas. Ashtadiggajas. Even Krishna Devaraya was a scholar. His Telugu work Amukta Malyada reveals the shrewdness of the economy or the politics. Amukta Maulyada. He himself was a poet, and the Kannada work Jambavati Kalyana. A poem, Jambavati Kalyana, was written by Krishna Devaraya. The 2 works of Krishna Devaraya, the Telugu work Amukta Malyada and the Kannada work Jambavati Kalyana. These are the 2 important works written by the Krishna Devaraya itself. So next, we will move to the next. Fall of Vijayanagara Empire. 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 Already in the beginning itself, I have been said why this particular dynasty was being established or why this particular dynasty was being born. So, for the savior of the Hindu religion, culture, tradition, but at last this dynasty saw a very pathologic end, we can say that. So after Krishna Devaraya, Achyut Raya ascended the throne and he ruled for some years. After Achyut Raya, Sadashiv Raya came to the throne, but he could not handle, he was not capable. So he handed over towards the, so Krishna Devaraya's son-in-law, Ramaraya, Krishna Devaraya's son-in-law, Ramaraya. Krishna Devaraya's son-in-law, Ramaraya. Ramaraya. And it is the beginning of the Aravidu dynasty. Beginning of the Aravidu dynasty. Krishna's son-in-law, Ramaraya. He was also called as Aliya Ramaraya. He was also called as Aliya Ramaraya. So at last, the Aravidu dynasty ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire, and Ramaraya was from the Aravidu dynasty. So he was the son-in-law of Krishna Devaraya. So he was the son-in-law of Krishna Devaraya. He was also called as Aliya Ramaraya. So Sadashiraya handed over the administration towards the Aliya Ramaraya, and all through Ramaraya had improved the prestige. So after Krishna Devaraya, the prestige. After Krishna Devaraya, the glory and prestige of the Vijayanagara has been reduced, or it has been lost. So the lost prestige was been regained by the Aliya Ramaraya. He ruled for 23 years. And he improved, or he extended the empire in all the directions. So even Aliya Ramaraya had a frequent war with their common enemy. Who was their common enemy? Can anyone say who was their common enemy? So Bhumika, who was the common enemy of the Vijayanagara? So just put the message in the chat. Who was the common enemy of the Vijayanagara? So even during the rule of the Aravidu dynasty, so they had to fight Bahamani Sultan. So their common enemy was the Bahamani Sultan. So but Aliya Ramaraya ruled vigorously for 23 years. So here at the last, especially in the 1565. So there was a very furious battle. Between the five Bahamani kingdoms. They all combined to get attacked on the Vijayanagara Empire. The five Bahamani. So that battle has been called as the Battle of Talikote. And even that battle is also been called as the Battle of Rakkasatangadi. The Battle of Rakkasatangadi. Battle of Rakkasatangadi. Battle of Rakkasatangadi in 1565. Battle of Rakkasatangadi. It is also been called as the Battle of Talikote, and it is also been called as the Battle of Rakkasatangadi. So this battle ended the rule of Vijayanagara Empire. So five Bahamani kingdoms. Later I'll say which are those five Bahamani kingdoms. Five Bahamani kingdoms and Vijayanagara Empire. So it met in the Talikote, the present Talikote. It met there, and a very furious battle. So in the earlier part of the battle, so it was the upper hand for the Vijayanagara Empire, But so in the second half, so the battle scenario was being changed. Why it was being changed? The Muslim soldiers who were fighting in the Vijayanagara Empire, they turned towards them. They revolted towards the Vijayanagara Empire. They joined hands with the Bahamani Sultans, with the five Bahamani Sultans, in the name of religion. So means we can say that they backstabbed. So this is the reason Aliya Ramaraya was being killed in the battlefield, and Aliya Ramaraya was being killed in the battlefield. So here in 1565, the Aliya Ramaraya was being killed. The Deccan Sultan plundered the Hampi. So if you visit today also Hampi, you can see the broken idols. The broken temples, etc. All are the result of the Battle of Talikote. After defeating Aliya Ramara in Talikote, the army entered towards the Hampi and plundered the Hampi itself. Plundered the Hampi. Even today you can see them. Even today it is witnessed. You can see them. And the capital became ruined. Later, the capital was been just ruined by the Shahi Sultans. And later, Arvidur, the later kings of Arvidur dynasty, they shifted their capital from Hampi to Penagonda, Chandragiri, and finally, at last, in Vellore. And in 1646, the dynasty totally came to an end. In 1646, the dynasty totally came to an end. So in the year from 1336 to 1646. From 1336 to 1646. So here, the Battle of Talikote. So Ramaraya was been killed. So the later Arvidu rulers, they ran away from the Hampi and they ruled from Penagonda, later Chandragiri. At last, the dynasty Vijayanagara Empire ruled from Vellore in 1646, and thus it was the end of the Vijayanagara Empire, one of the glorious empire. It was the end of the glorious empire from 1336 to 1646. So after Vijayanagara Empire was being defeated, so in 1646 the Vijayanagara Empire ended. So next it was the chieftains, the Palegaras, the chieftains of Mysore, Keladi and Chitradurga became independent in Karnataka region. So already you are knowing regarding the Mysore, Wadayars of Mysore, Keladi, the Palegaras of Keladi, and the Palegaras of Chitradurga. So they were the subordinates of the Vijayanagara Empire. After when Vijayanagara Empire was being defeated, so it completely was being ended. So these dynasties became independent and started to rule over the region. And next is the history itself. You are knowing regarding the Mysore rulers, Palegara, Keladi Palegaras, etc. So here, so this is the end of the Vijayanagara Empire. So, but during the Vijayanagara Empire, some of the foreign travelers who visited the Vijayanagara Empire, are they just listen to me? Ibn Battuta, Nicola de Conten, Abdul Razak, Niketan, next Narsimha Barbos, Domingo Pace, Nuzi, next Caesar Frederick. So these are some of the important foreign travelers who visited the Vijayanagara Empire. And during the time of Vijayanagara Empire, even the women were being given freedom and they were taking part in each and every, even in the economic issues, even in the political issues, they were taking part. So some of the women, Honnamma was the reporter in the court of Devaraya II. Honnamma was the reporter in the court of Devaraya II, and wrestling was being popular. So how the today WWF, you watch WWF, same thing. Wrestling was being popular. Hariyakka was the famous female wrestler. Why I said this topic? Even women were being given freedom and they enjoyed. Even women enjoyed the freedom during the Vijayanagara Empire. So this is regarding one of the famous empire of Vijayanagara, one of the famous empire of South India. Devaraya II, he was been one of the famous ruler during his rule from the Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Malaysia, the royalties were being collected and they are having the contact with the other countries. He sent an ambassador to China during the Ming dynasty was been ruling. So this is regarding the Vijayanagara Empire. So next we will move towards the Bahamani Sultan. So while before going to the Bahamani Sultan, so just once look at the some videos. Tuluva dynasty. So Krishna Deva Raya is a famous ruler of the Tuluva dynasty. So you can see the portrait of the Sri Krishna Deva Raya. As a warrior and general. As a warrior and general. Already I have been explained. So this is the map of Vijayanagara Empire during the rule of Sri Krishna Deva Raya. During the rule of Sri Krishna Deva Raya. You can see the total South India was under the control of him. Even the some parts of the, even till the Orissa, some parts were controlled. So this is the map of the Krishna Deva Raya during the rule of Krishna Deva Raya. As an administrator, as a patron of arts. So you can see the portrait of Krishna Deva Raya and his two wives, Chinnamma Devi and Tirumala Devi. These are the two wives of Krishna Deva Raya. So even this portrait, if you go to Tirupati, even today you can see these images. Krishna Deva Raya and his two wives, Chinnamma Devi and Tirumala Devi. Successor of Krishna Deva Raya. Battle of Talikoti, just I have been said. So the question may come, write a note on the Battle of Talikoti. Question may come for 2 marks, remember. The Battle of Talikoti. Even this Battle of Talikoti is been called as the Rakkasatangadi battle also. Rakkasatangadi battle. So this battle was fought. This battle was fought in the year January 1965. So here the four sultans, Ahmad Shahis of Ahmednagar, Adil Shahis of Bijapur, Barid Shahis of Bidar, Qutub Shahis of Golconda. Aravidu dynasty. So achievements of Krishna Deva Raya, you can see that the map. You come to know regarding the achievements of Krishna Deva Raya. So Chandragiri, I have been said, the capital was been after Battle of Talikoti, the capital was been shifted, Penagonda. So this is Chandragiri. You can see the monuments of Hampi. So elephant stable. So great platform, Royal Center. So Lotus Mahal. So I have been said the Hampi was been ruined, destroyed. You can see the destroyed monument there, or Mantapa, you can see there. So Virupaksha temple, streets of Achyutraya temple. So small Ganesha temple. So Hemakuta hills, small Ganesha temple. So Kadele Kalu Ganapati. Hajar Ramchandra temple, Krishna temple. So you can see the broken idol there of the Ugra Narasimha. So Vittala temple. So don't consider this car as that is, you can see that the today's pic it is, means the present pic. So at that during the time of the Vijayanagara Empire, this car was not there. Virupaksha temple. So the stone chariot, which is world famous. The stone chariot, which is world famous. If you visit Hampi, you can see each and everything. So group of temples in the Hemakuta hills. Tirupati temple. ನಾವೇನು ನಾವು ಮನೆ ದೇವರು ಅಂತ ಕರೆಯೋದಿಲ್ವಾ, ಸೊ ತಿರುಪತಿ ಏನು ತಿರುಪತಿ ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲ ಅದು ವಿಜಯನಗರದ ಮನೆ ದೇವರಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಕಾಳಹಸ್ತಿ, it is in Andhra, even that was being constructed by during the Vijaya itself. Srirangam, which is in Tamil Nadu. Kanchipuram temple. So decline, why there was a decline? Decline of the Vijayanagara Empire, inability of the kings, combined attacks of the Sultan. So next we will move towards the Bahamani kingdom. Bahamani kingdom. So before going to the Bahamani kingdom, while studying the Delhi Sultanate, while studying about the Delhi Sultanate, Tughlaq dynasty we have been studying. Who was the famous ruler in the Tughlaq dynasty? Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq has been shifted the capital from Delhi to Devagiri, Devagiri to Delhi. So when he has been shifted the capital from Delhi to Devagiri, one of his commander revolted against him, and he stayed in the Deccan itself, and he established the new dynasty, and that dynasty has been called as the Bahamani kingdom or Bahamani empire. The founder, Hassan Gangu Bahman Sharadam, the founder of this dynasty. So another important historical change which we can witness in the 14th century was the rise of the Bahamani kingdom. In the year 1347, in the year 1347, Alauddin Hassan Gangu Bahman Shah. Alauddin Hassan Gangu Bahman Shah established a new empire in the southern India. So that is the dynasty is Bahmani kingdom. So Bahmani kingdom was established by the Alauddin Hassan Gangu Bahman Shah in which year? In the year 1347. So important rulers of the dynasty are Hassan Gangu, Rizal Shah, Muhammad Shah, Ahmad Shah, Wali, Bahmani. So here is the 5 dynasties which has been attacked the Vijayanagara. Imad Shah of Varid, Bari Shahs of Bijapur, Adil Shahs of Bidar, Adil Shahs of Bijapur, Nizam Shahs of Ahmednagar, Qutub Shahs of Golconda. So these are the 5 Bahmanis who were killed. So here, another important change witnessed in the 14th century was the establishment of the Bahmani Sultan. And who is the founder of the Bahmani Sultan? Alauddin Hassan Gangu Bahman Shah. Alauddin Hassan Gangu Bahman Shah is the founder. So this dynasty ruled from 1347 to 1686. This dynasty ruled from 1347 to 1686. The important rulers are the Muhammad Shah first, Muhammad Shah second, Firoz Shah, Yusuf Adil Shah, Ibrahim Adil Shah second are the important rulers of this dynasty. The history of Bahmani rulers can be seen in 2 stages. In the first stage, from 1346 to 1422, so Gulbarga was their capital. So earlier of the Bahmani Sultan, Gulbarga was their capital. So today it has been called as Kalburgi. So that was their capital. So the main rivals of the Bahmanis during those days were the Rayas of Telangana and Vijayanagara Empire. Rayas of Telangana and Vijayanagara Empire were the main rivals. So the 8 sultans ruled over here. 8 sultans ruled from the Gulbarga as the capital. Shihabuddin Ahmad shifted the capital from Gulbarga to Bidar. Shifted the capital from Gulbarga to Bidar. So here Shihabuddin Ahmad shifted the capital from Gulbarga to Bidar. So today it is been called as Kalburgi. From Kalburgi to Bidar, Gulbarga to Bidar. So this is the second part. Bidar remained the capital till the end of the Bahmani Sultan. So which was the earlier capital of Bahmani Sultan? Sri Krishna? Just message in the chat. Which was the earlier capital of Bahmani Sultan? Gulbarga. Yes, Aditi. Who is the founder of the Bahmani Sultan? Aditi. Who is the founder of the Bahmani Sultan? Aditi, who is the founder of the Bahmani Sultan? Aditi, Aditi,
Sir,
who is the founder of the Bahmani Sultan?
Aladdin Hassan.
Alauddin Hassan Gangu Bamsal. While I am asking the question, means you have to answer in the chat section. Remember it.
Okay, sir.
So Alauddin Hassan Gangu Shah is the founder of the Bahmani Sultan. So in which year he founded the empire? So in which year Alauddin Hassan Gangu Shah established the Bahmani kingdom? Manish. Yes, Manish. When he established? Manish. 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 Swastita. In which year? Huh?
1347.
In 1347. Who are the common enemies? Swasti. Who are the common enemies of the Bahmani Sultan? Or who are the main rivals of the Bahmani Sultan? Yes, Swasti. Swasti.
Sir.
Who are the common rivals of the Bahmani Sultan?
Sir, question.
So the common enemies or the common enemies of the Bahmani Sultan were Rayas of Telangana and the Vijayanagara Empire. Rayas of Telangana and Vijayanagara Empire. So here next, now Gulbarga is now Bidar is their capital. So here comes the main person. Here comes the main person. Here comes the main person of the. Here comes the main person. Here comes the main person of the Bahmani Sultan or the Bahmani. So he is not a ruler. He is not a king. He is not a king of that particular dynasty. He is not a king of the Bahmani Sultan. But he is one of the important person in the upliftment of the glory and prestige of the Bahmani Sultan. He is none other than the prime minister. He is none other than the prime minister. None other than the prime minister of the Bahmani Sultan. Muhammad Gawan. Muhammad Gawan, the important person in the history of Bahmani Sultan. He is not a king. He is not a king. He was just a loyal servant. He was not a king, but a loyal servant. So, students, the meeting will end in the 5 minutes, and you have to rejoin. You have to rejoin the meeting. So, I have been taken attendance. 34 members are there. Only just for 20 minutes. You have to rejoin. Now, the meeting will end in the 5 minutes. So, after 5 minutes, you have to rejoin the meeting. So, here, Muhammad Gawan from 1411 to 1481. From 1411 to 1481. So, from 1347 to 1426, Kalburgi was their capital. From 1347 to 1426, Kalburgi was their capital. Which was their capital? Kalburgi was their capital. Afterwards, Saibuddin Ahmed shifted the capital from Kalburgi to Bidar. Kalburgi to Bidar. So here, during the period, Muhammad Gawan during this period, as the Bidar was the capital, at that time Muhammad Gawan ruled over the Bahamani Sultan with selflessness and dedication. As a prime minister, he took over the Bahamani kingdom with the greatest heights and the pinnacle glory. He learnt Muslim laws, religious verses from the Cairo, and gained a proficiency in the Arab and the Parsi language. He served as the prime minister during the rule of the Bahamani kings Humayun, Nizam Shah, Muhammad Shah III. He ruled as the prime minister under the three Bahamani kings. Humayun, Nizam Shah and Muhammad Shah III. He was responsible for enhancing the glory. Of the Bahamani kingdom in all the directions. Not only extended the empire, even he gave importance towards the art and architecture, education. The efficient administration. He was an efficient administrator and an able commander also. So now the meeting will end. So within I'll send a meeting ID. So you have to rejoin for 20 minutes.